Alright, so welcome to Revit 2019 Demo 21. In this lecture, we're going to talk about area plans. I'm going to upload a model called Area Plan 2019 to D2L, so you'll need to download this. This will be a little bit different than past demos. Once you have this file downloaded, you're going to open it. To start off, Revit has an area analysis tool to define and label spatial relationships. These are different than rooms in Revit architecture and spaces in Revit MEP. In fact, areas and rooms can occupy the same place on top of each other. Areas have different parameters than rooms, and they also keep track of different information. So we've opened up this file. We're going to go over to Room and Area, which is under the Architecture tab, and we're going to open up Area and Volume computations. We're going to go over to area schemes, and you're going to notice that there's two different types. These two different out-of-the-box types are gross building total constructed areas of the building and rentable area measurements based on the standard method of measuring floor area in office buildings. So these are the two different types. We have the rentable and gross building. Now what we're going to do is understand that frequently it is necessary to find the total area of a floor plan. The gross building area plan is perfect for this and is really fast. So if you go to the browser, you'll notice that we don't have a plan. We're not going to duplicate level 1. We're actually going to come over and create an area plan. So we're going to come over to Architecture, Room and Area, Area Plan, and we're going to create a gross building level 1. And we're not going to duplicate the views. And you'll notice that on the left-hand side of our browser, it created that level for us. Now, if I come in here and I tag the area, it's going to give me the total area of that floor of the building. So if I had larger areas or larger buildings, calculating the area of each floor would be really quick. So the new area plan shows up automatically in the browser. The magenta lines are boundary lines, and they could be moved and new ones could be created, but those are good. Notice the area tag is there showing the area of the floor plan, which is really nice. Again, on a multi-story building, this is super helpful. So we're going to move into rentable area. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come in here, area plan. We're going to create rentable on level 1. It's going to do the same thing. We're going to say yes. It's going to create a new level, which is area plans level 1 rentable. And then from here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to enter in new boundaries of walls. So you'll notice that it selected all the interior spaces of walls, and that's correct. And now what we want to do is go to area boundary. Now we're going to pick each wall, not the windows, so the magenta lines are on each wall. We're going to start in the lower left-hand corner. So we're going to come down here and select these 4 walls. And then we'll go back to architecture and we'll drop down area and hit area. And you'll notice that I can place in here an area tag. Now, this room I want to call tenant 1. So we're going to call this tenant 1. And you'll notice when I select this room, on the left I can change the area type to be an office area. So we want this to be office area. Now that's set out. It looks really well. I selected this area of the room. So much similar to when we're creating rooms, we're going to select this room boundary. It's the area of the boundary. And that's going to give us some properties of what that area does. So we want to do the same for the top left space. So we're going to go up to area boundary, and we're going to define this boundary. Same thing. And we'll go ahead and define some of the other boundaries while we're at it. So we're just going to go through, kind of define those. They're all broken out now. And then if I hit area, I can start placing the area tags. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get these placed into the model where I want them. And that way I have everything kind of in place. And then this top left one I'm going to call tenant 2. And we're going to call this an office area. And then the corridor area here, we're going to call corridor. And that's a building common area. So when I highlight this X, we'll leave this at building common area. And then the bottom right one is going to be store 1. So we'll call this store 1. And this top right one will be store 2. So we'll call this store 2. And then we'll want to make sure that each of these are set to store areas. So we'll say store area, and we'll change this one to store area. And just looking at that drop down real quick while it's open, we have store areas, major vertical penetrations, we have floor areas, exterior areas, office areas, and building common areas. Now, for this core, which is this area here, we're going to name it core, and we'll change this room to be that major vertical penetration. Now, notice all the changes in the boundaries as I modify what they are. So when I chose this as core, it actually went to the exterior walls. So it's applying the industry rules for areas when they're adjacent. So that's very critical. This area is where stairs, an escalator, or an elevator would go, and then notice where those magenta lines are. So now we want to create an area color fill plan, so we can add color to the areas based on their area type. So we're going to go up to annotate, and we're going to create a color fill legend. So we're going to come up top and look for color fill legend, which is here. And we're going to place on the drawing area to the right. And we want to choose area rentable, scheme 1. Okay. And now you'll notice that we have our building common area, major vertical penetration, office area, and store area. Now, you can change these colors by either selecting it and editing the scheme, or you can go to architecture, room and area, color schemes. Same window. It's just going to give you different colors based on where you're at. So for this one, we went to areas rentable. This is one that we had set up earlier. So if I hit wow, this is what I ultimately want you to create. So to create that, you would just hit add value, and you can call it whatever you want, maybe Gallatin scheme. If your cap locks is on like mine is all the time, you're going to see a lot of typos, but I catch it and you'll have to catch it as well. That was the wrong scheme for some reason. That's because I'm not sure why that didn't work. Let's try that one more time. Gallatin scheme and hit OK. Invalid input. So I probably, so I added a value here. That's a typical user mistake, that you would hit add value here, but you actually want to right click and duplicate. You can also do that here, duplicate. Gallatin scheme. And then under Gallatin scheme, you'll create building common, major vertical penetration, office area, and store area, and you'll adjust these values to match the values within the scheme. So you can change the value to say green, and then we can change this one to like a red maybe. We can change this one to like a blue, and then this one to something different like a pink. And we'll hit apply and OK. And we'll pick on the legend and change the scheme to Gallatin scheme, apply, OK, and it updated those colors. So super, super valuable because you can make as many schemes as you want. Now let's check out the area schedules. So you can quickly create a schedule of the areas. So we're going to go to View, Schedules and Quantities. And then under Schedules and Quantities, we want to choose Areas Rentable. And we're going to name, we're not going to name this, we'll just leave it what it is. Hit OK. We're going to bring over name, area, area type, perimeter, and we added all those, so we're good to go. So we're going to hit OK. And you'll notice that there's some areas that haven't been placed. So these ones that haven't been placed, I can go ahead and delete. These were probably just remnants from a past file. And in here, you'll notice that I have the area type, and the perimeter. So what I want to do is I want to total the area types. So what I want to do is go to sorting and grouping. I want to go and sort by area type, and then I want to check footer. And I want this to be title count totals, which is this top one. And we're going to go to formatting now, which is this tab. And we're going to go to area check calc totals. So area check, let's look in here, area check calc totals. Let's look for this really quick here. Area calculate totals is what it wants. So we went into formatting, area, and then it says calculate totals. Unfortunately, there isn't a calculate totals button inside of Revit 2019. So we're going to leave it where we're at right now and just see if we're missing something here real quick. Field formatting, use project standards, conditional formatting. Yeah, I'm just looking through. Oh, here we go. Calculate totals. So when we hit this drop down here, it'll say calculate totals. It's not a checkbox anymore. They've switched it to a drop down. So we're going to hit OK. Now you'll notice that building common area has a total area. The tenants have a total area, and the store area as well. So this is super powerful. So what we can do is we can actually create a new sheet, and we can load a title block. So if I go up and look at title blocks, I can load an 11 by 17, and we can go ahead and just throw the rentable area, or just the area plan, and schedule on a sheet. So we'll just go ahead and throw this over, get that up there, and it's on the sheet. And I can hide some things, so I can activate the view, hide the elevations, deactivate the view, drag the view title up, shorten the view title down to be the length of the building, and then I can grab that schedule that I made just recently under schedules and drag that over. And then really quickly, I've just created myself a nice area plan and schedule on a B-size sheet. So we learned how to quickly organize areas to give us information based on industry standards. So go ahead and save this as file, save as project. Gallatin College, we're going to go to our demos file. So I'm going to go into my demos file. So wherever you've saved your demos file. And I'm going to save this one as Revit1 demos demo21. And I will see you in the next lecture.